Hello everybody, Tobisatsu here, and today we'll be going over all the things I watched in the month of March. Let's start with TV shows. Severance. I'm really enjoying the show thus far. Doing a weekly watch along with my friend for this, so I'll definitely be taking my time with it. The show grips you early on, and I'm beyond invested. The cast has been fantastic all around, and I'm really excited to see where it's headed. The Studio. I watched the debut episodes, and I'm liking the fact that this is going to be episodic. The comedy is solid, and Seth Rogen is not insufferable, actually putting on a solid performance. I enjoyed the jabs at modern day Hollywood and their thought processes, and especially with the second episode, the creativity and comedy really flourished. Hoping it stays solid going forward. Common side effects. I'll be digging deep into this one next month. Unfortunately, there is one final episode that is yet to be released as I type this, so I want to be sure to catch that before giving my overall thoughts. I will say it's incredibly made and animated, and has deeply hooked my girlfriend and I. After how episode 9 ended, I'm very interested to see how it concludes. Really crossing my fingers it sticks the landing. Ultraman Max. You may notice a lack of films watched this month, and a lot of that comes down to me finally wrapping up this show. Compared to Ginga, this was a breath of fresh air. Well, for the most part. When the show is on its A game, it puts out some compelling television, with some really inventive and engrossing stories. Episode 15 sticks out as one of the best emotional stories told with kaiju I have ever seen. Mixed in, though, are mildly entertaining and at worst, complete slogs that, while well made, just do not need to be here. Thankfully, the mid outranks the crap in that department. The attack team is solid, Kaido and Sean being standouts for me. The action with the kaiju is absolutely awesome. Even in its weakest episodes, the effects and choreography rock. Much like Ginga, I plan on making a more in-depth review of the show down the road. But I will say that this is a really solid show, and it could make for a decent starting point if you want to get into the franchise. I recommend it if you're interested. I'm excited to jump into the next series from here. After a little detour. Alrighty, on to movies. Last Breath. I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. The film follows the true story of Chris Lemons, a diver who's stranded at the bottom of the ocean after his connection to the ship is broken. Now, his fellow divers Duncan, David, and the crew aboard the ship must be all hands on deck to save him. This film isn't anything groundbreaking, but as a survival thriller, I found it to be really engrossing. Much of this comes down to the way the film is shot, as much of it has incredible framing, making things that could be mundane so much more eye-catching and impactful. I especially found the underwater scenes to be effective, truly giving you the sense of dread and all-encompassing darkness that surrounds Chris as he waits helplessly. I do wish the characters had some more meat to their bones, though, as some of their aspirations and struggles don't go past a mention, and then a flabby end once the movie wraps. I do like how it's truly a crew effort to save Chris, though. Many aspects of the crew are highlighted through the film, giving this sense of an almost familial bond, something I'm sure makes the 28 days out at sea much more bearable for the crew. Not sure if I'd recommend a theater trip, but it definitely is a fun watch, and maybe worth renting at some point. Mickey 17. Coming off the hype of Parasite, Bong Joon-ho delivers a convoluted, yet well-crafted movie, which I can see being one of the better releases this year. Mickey 17 is a sci-fi comedy that follows Mickey Barnes, a man who signed up to be an expendable on a space expedition. With each death he is reprinted and brought back to life to complete some new, insanely heinous task. After surviving something thought impossible, 17 comes across a newly printed version of himself, 18. With a rambling madman at the helm of the ship, and the lives of both 17 and 18 at stake, what will the Mickeys do? I love the vibe of the film, and the way everything is directed is so kooky and different. This is obviously in part to Bong Joon-ho's amazing vision and direction. Everyone here does a solid performance, with Pattinson easily being the standout. Ruffalo is another point to make. I really enjoyed his character at the start, but the overacting and overall vibe he put into the character began to really lose me as the film progressed. Mickey 17 and 18 have some humorous interactions, and Mickey Barnes as a character is set up really well. You really get to see why he is the way he is. It's funny and has some interesting things to say, yet even with this, there are certain aspects of this film where belief really needs to be suspended. Whether it be the occasional moment of plot armor, or the fact that certain Mickeys act different from the last, even though they're using the same exact scan of his brain, these are little things that, though minor, take you out of it. The movie also comes off as a bit bloated by the end, with the ending feeling as though it's being dragged out. Massively. Is that still relevant? No. Overall, though, this was a really solid film. I enjoyed myself, and I recommend watching it if it's caught your interest. American Psycho. God, I love this movie. What is there to say on this that hasn't been said yet? Christian Bale puts on a stellar performance, as does Dafoe. The story is engrossing, the comedy is top tier, and all around it's such a tightly told narrative. The inner monologues of Patrick are some of the funniest pieces of dialogue possibly ever written, like an edgelord off of Reddit, but with an actual sting. I can't help but laugh at it. And the ending, man. I adore when a film can be left open-ended in a way that doesn't feel empty or cheap. I really need to go back to this film more. It impresses me more and more on rewatch, and if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. I had some fairly high hopes headed into this film. I'm not going to act like I'm a Looney Tunes fanatic, but I have indulged and enjoyed quite a bit of the shows and movies associated with the series. Having the film be a fully 2D animated feature made it even more of a sure watch on my end. It's nice to see one in theaters. The film follows Daffy, Porky, and Petunia as they battle off an alien invasion caused by tainted chewing gum. That's the basic gist of it, and honestly that's probably for the better. The film thrives in its humor, both written and animated. There's some absolute stingers here, with jokes mixed into the goofy dialogue that comes so out of left field you can't help but laugh. Leading into the animation, the subtle things as well as the bombastic things work so damn well. Little details like Daffy pointing with his toe while dreaming is so simple, yet there are so many things like this sprinkled throughout that it adds life and vibrance to these characters. The slapstick is as punchy as ever, and they even throw in some sequences that are unique to that moment in terms of style. And while it sometimes goofs with the pacing, the talent on display needs to be appreciated. Overall, the writing does its job past that. It aims to be a funny alien invasion film, and it does just that. Daffy and Porky's dynamic heavily reminds me of SpongeBob and Patrick's in the first SpongeBob movie. They even get out of situations in similar ways. That doesn't mean their dynamic isn't unique though, as I love the unrelated brother angle they go with, as well as how they were adopted by Farmer Jim, which easily involved the best punchlines. I don't have a ton to say on Petunia, but I did like her character. She made for a good third team member through the adventure. I'm not going to act like this is incredible, but it was really fun, enjoyably low stakes, and I highly recommend it, especially to those who enjoy animation. Godzilla vs. Biollante, or Biollante, I don't know, there seems to be so many damn pronunciations for this monster. In my opinion, not only one of the best Godzilla films, but kaiju films as a whole. Coming off of Return of Godzilla, I think this film struck the perfect balance of blockbuster action and character drama. As a whole, the human stuff at points almost outshines the kaiju side of the flick. But of course, once Godzilla hits the scene, all eyes are on him. The suits and sets are incredible, and I absolutely adore the vibe of this film. Almost John Carpenter-esque with the horror elements mixed into the spy espionage plot. And the soundtrack. Brother, when Biowars hits, it gets the chub going, I'm not gonna lie. Biollante is also such a kick-ass creature, and it's one of those things that leaves you thinking after the film. Minor spoilers, but the kaiju is made up of G-cells, and roses spliced with Dr. Shiragami's daughter, Erika's, cells. The film brings attention to the fact her consciousness is inside of Biollante, both verbally and visually, and the idea of her being engulfed by the power of Godzilla's cells is honestly terrifying. The film does just enough with it to make it work for the plot, but the more you think of the idea, the more messed up and tragic it really becomes. I love shit like that. A fan film titled Shelter 54 dives deeper into this idea, and it's beyond well done. Honestly, it makes for an interesting companion piece to check out after watching the film. The point is, it's not your typical Godzilla flick, and honestly, that's the movie's biggest strength. It is for sure not for everybody, but man, if you're into stuff like this, it is a banger. Fat shout out to Criterion for finally releasing this damn film in the US on 4K. Fred, the movie. You can sum up this movie by calling it Babies First, The Room. I used to love this as a kid. Enough so that whenever they decided to cart it out on the Nick channel, I'd be sure to watch it. The movie is about Fred living his life and trying to get with the popular chick. Not that deep, but what makes the movie work for me is just how sincere it is, even in its cheapest moments. The first 30 minutes are genuinely hilarious, and I am not ashamed to admit it. There's adult humor spread throughout, with some subtle jokes and some...
Oh my damn, I dug all the way to China!
Well, yeah. But it is so out of character in a film like this that I can't help but love it. A lot of people complain about Fred's voice here, and maybe I'm just more tolerant, but I didn't think much of it. Much better than what he was doing in his YouTube videos. Fred as the main character is fine, but where the movie truly works is the world reacting to him. The moments he has with the public, strange or normal, make this movie. Kevin and Fred's mom being examples on opposite spectrums, with Kevin being cartoonishly evil, and Fred's mom being a depiction of a neglectful alcoholic. They don't say it, but it's heavily implied. It's self-aware enough to know the average person is going to find this movie annoying. And while I wish it leaned into that a bit more at times, the movie really shines when it does. It lasts just long enough to not become nagging, but by the end I was done with the premise. This is a great example of so bad it's good, and it makes me want to go down the YouTuber movie rabbit hole at some point in the future. It's clearly a TV movie made for quick cash, but I can't act like I didn't have a good time revisiting this. Well, that wraps up the month of March. What'd you watch this month? Be sure to leave a comment letting me know what you did. And if you have any opinions on what I thought of these movies or shows, be sure to also leave a comment on that. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more from me. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Tobisatsu, and I hope that you have a great day.